Hi there. I can never tell when this thing goes live. I'm shutting down some stuff for the moment because my job just went off. And so that's why you are graced with my presence today. And as I was sitting there, I was thinking about billings and I was thinking about, damn, I'm only gonna bill out 300 bucks this morning. But it's 300 bucks for doing nothing, making a worksheet and turning it in. My dog is still coughing. Um, And that gives me the rest of the day to do the things that I never get around to doing. One of which is saying, "Hi guys, how's it going out there?" But I was thinking about numbers and all these synchronicities that have been happening around me, which I would 10 years ago never have noticed or said, "Oh, well, that's a coincidence. That's ridiculous." Um, I just got somebody shared a video with me that was talking about how it's a mathematical universe. It's all numbers. It's sacred geometry. It's, all of that. And then I was working with somebody last night, one-on-one, on a strategy call because they're getting ready to take California CSR. And sharing with her with something that I've known has worked for a long time. And Rose Detloff has also shared with you guys that it's how she got her percentage of pass up so high. She's in an area where I think it was the RPR that she was trying to take, but you only have to have 95% accuracy, only 95% accuracy. So she was telling her amazing brain, "Hey, I'm aiming for 97." Well, that's great, but that don't cut it in California because our pass rate is 97.5. So, and I like even numbers. So for California, it's like tell your amazing brain or anybody that 95, 97.5, that's all for normal, ordinary people. I'm exceptional. I have an exceptional brain. I wouldn't have made it this far without my incredible brain. And I know that just by telling it, I know it can aim for 98, even 99%. But yeah, let's be reasonable. 98, that's beautiful. That's enough. That's good enough. We don't have to be perfect. If we had to be perfect, we'd have to get 100% accuracy. That's not the way this is meant to be. So tell your amazing brain 90, 98, oh, 98 or better. And you don't have to do anything else but say those words 3, 4 times a day, every time it occurs to you, every time you sit down to do a take, just say, "God, I've got an incredible brain." And I know that without me doing anything else, it can aim for 98% accuracy by itself. It does so many things in the background that we're not aware of, which is why when we're going through speeds, we can feel like, "What is wrong with me? I'm getting this stuff at higher speeds, and when I go to take the test, I can't get it," because your brain is already faster than where you're testing. Your hearing and your skills are already faster than what you're trying to test at. And basically what you're going to have to do is get even a little bit faster so that when you drop back to that speed, it's totally doable. It's totally something that you're going to ace. It's like me, if I turned around and took, a 160 test or a 140 test. Actually, the lower it goes, the more I'm going to stumble because way more time I'm going to have to think about how do I write stuff. And the faster your speed that you're aiming for, the absolute less you've got to get rid of the process of analyzing how you're writing. That's what we did in theory. We analyzed everything that we were writing. That's how we did all the way up to 100s and 120s. We had an opportunity, the time, the luxury to analyze what we're writing. And when we hit 120, from 120 to 160, 180, you've got to let go of the analytical part of the process. You've got to trust that you have downloaded what you need to download into your subconscious and that without you interfering, it is able to write brilliantly. At the highest speed you've ever written at, it can do that on demand if you stay out of the way. And I do believe that pushing for speed, as Ali Hall says, 30 solid sustained minutes of dictation at least 40 to 60 words per minute faster than you're going to test at, That is where you want to, that's what you want to be doing every single day for 30 days before you take any major certification test. And she's right, because as you push for those high speeds, it's going to be ugly. Of course it's going to be ugly, because you're not ready to certify at 260 words a minute. Nobody's saying you are, but you've got to push. Pushing actually does more than just, well, it'll frustrate the hell out of you, but put that aside. What it's actually doing for you is a bunch of things in the background without you being aware of them. I love this stuff. It's actually training your hearing to hear faster. You can only write as fast as your hearing can recognize what it thinks it's hearing and give you that time to process it, translate it, and push it into steno or voice out, either way. It's a straighter channel, hearing to voice. It's a little bit longer channel, hearing to translating to steno, to out, but it's all doable. And so you want to be able to be that open channel. Have it come in, have it go out. And so pushing at high speeds is going to train your hearing to hear faster. The faster you can hear and recognize what you're hearing, the more time, even if it's a nanosecond, the more time you have to respond, to react, to write automatically. Also, pushing at high speeds does something for your hands, or your mouth if your voice. I'm going to have to come up with a generic way to describe all this stuff, because I don't want to leave anybody out. However you're doing it, if you're aiming to get certified, you're our people. We want you, and we want you to get out of school as fast as possible. School is not the place to come and stay. School is just a stepping bridge to get to the other side of the raging waters, okay? And you're just walking over the raging waters right now. Don't look down. Keep looking ahead. Keep going in the direction you're going. If you need to take a breath at the top of the arch of the bridge, just hold on to the rail. Look behind you and see how far you've come. Pat yourself on the back with the other hand and tell yourself how magnificent you are, and then turn in the direction you're going and keep going. One step after the other is all you have to do. That was me going through the Guatemalan jungle for 10 days. Was literally sometimes just looking at the ground at the feet of the person in front of me, because he wasn't falling off a cliff, so I was going to do what he was doing. And I had this little mantra, and it was, one step in front of the other is all I have to do. And that's all you have to do too, is the next step that's in front of you, the next step that's in front of you. Don't ask about it, don't question it, don't doubt it, just keep doing it. So the other thing that pushing for a fast speed will do for you is it lets your fingers feel, or your mouth, feel what it's going to feel like to write at that faster speed. And you've heard Mark Kissenberg talk about it, that write fast, write short. Sure, he can write stuff in 4 strokes a second where it takes me 6 strokes a second. But at this point in my career, I don't care, because I keep up. My notes are beautiful, and they're as beautiful as they can be for me, for reporting for 44 years. My translation rate is incredible. As I'm sitting there and I'm watching untranslates, and it's way under 1% normally. When I look over, and I know when I look over, if I'm doing something and it's so challenging that my notes are fracturing, that I'm getting sloppy strokes, I know I've bumped into 2% error rate. And I just have to tell myself, well, that's the way today's going to be. It's just some takes are harder for some of us than others of us, because we're individuals. We've had different experiences, different vocabularies, different life things that have happened to us that make some words more familiar than others. And everything is more comfortable and faster to attack if you're more familiar with it. So faster hearing, faster response time, and just knowing that if I keep doing this, if I keep aiming for high speeds, I'm going to build endurance doing 30 minutes a day. There's no way I cannot. And also, as I'm pushing for faster speeds, I have to be getting better at it, even if I can't quantify that better amount. And as I'm pushing for higher speeds, my accuracy in lower speeds is going to increase also. It pulls it along. It's amazing. And that's a neuroscience thing. It has to do with the speed and at which your brain processes. And that has to do with how much you've taken in and then how much time you've allowed yourself and your brain, your whole neurology to just rest, which most of us have a problem with resting. We feel like if I'm resting, I'm lazy, I'm not doing anything, I'm not getting any progress. And that's not true. When you push really hard and then sit back and say, you know, I'm quitting at 8 or I'm quitting at whatever your quit time is, and that's it. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And if I feel like I must sit behind that machine, I'm going to sit and watch something with my family on television, or I'm going to enjoy watching something that I wouldn't normally just enjoy. And you can sit and write if you think you have to keep writing, but I promise you, it's just like working out at the gym, which, yeah, I'm not your, you know, I'm not your poster child for that, but I know my son is a bodybuilder. I know that you've got to break down the muscles, and that's what's happening when you're pushing. You're breaking down the muscles in your up here in your arms too. And when you do that, those muscles have got to have time to repair. And that can happen as quickly as 24 hours. But you can't just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because then you're going to hear the voice coming out of your mouth saying, I don't know what's wrong. I am practicing so much at such high speeds and I'm not getting any results. Well, no, because you've torn your muscles and not let them have a chance to repair and to get stronger and be ready for the next push. And that has to do with the way you think also, which we can't see that. I mean, at least with muscles, you know, I mean, I can turn my arms and I can see the muscles and the tendons moving in there. I can see them. They're real. But when I talk to you about how you think about what you're doing, that's a mental process, and that's kind of, I don't know, inside your head, out in your toroidal realm of electromagnetic energy surrounding your body. I don't know, but you can't see it. And if you can't see it, you can't quantify it. And for most of us, we were taught if you can't see it, it's not real. But that's not true either. Because every time you think a thought, you dig a deeper neural pathway. And if the thought is, God, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm never going to get out of school. Everybody else is better at this. Maybe I should just quit. Okay, now I've revamped now, and I'm come back, and I'm gonna think better about that, and I'm not going to say those things again, except that you already said them. And so the way neurology works, the way emotional response works, is if you get a negative message, not just from yourself, but from somebody else who maybe they don't know you, but they make some passing comment that is degrading, humiliating, depressing to you, I promise you, it will take a minimum of 6 positive thoughts afterwards to make you stop ruminating over that one negative thought. The neuro guy that taught me this, he said, you know how it is when if you're really pushing yourself out there, you know, you guys aren't necessarily, but if you're pushing yourself out there on Facebook and you get one nasty comment, you'll remember that nasty comment for days. For days. When does it finally dissipate? When you've gotten enough, doesn't have to be related, enough positive comments to counteract that one negative one. And basically it's a 6-to-1 ratio minimum. For Carrie, it's about 10-to-1, because that was the world I grew up in, was the whole world telling me, you know, you're not worth anything. You know, you're not worth what everybody else is worth. You can't do what other people can do. You don't matter. What you want doesn't matter. Who you are doesn't matter. And so for me, when somebody says something negative, it takes probably 10 times getting a positive to come back in to neutralize that negative, which if I had a healthy, and I'm working on it, a healthy self-image, I would basically be able to say, well, that's stupid, and that's not true, and I don't have to buy that, and I don't have to react to that, and that's not me, and then go on. And we see people doing it every day, but that was not my upbringing. And that is one of my hurdles that I've got to get over, is when somebody says something to me, I've got to realize everybody's got an opinion, and you know what they say about opinions, but everybody's opinion of me, everybody's opinion of you is flawed. Even if they love you, it's flawed because they don't know you like you know you. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know the backstory. They don't know any of it. They just know the part of you that they have come to know. So, negative self-talk, 6 to 1. If you find yourself saying something negative to yourself 6 times, 6 other things that you can come up with, and it'll slow that part down too. It will stop coming up with negative comments because it gets tired of having to stop what it's doing to hear all of the good stuff. And to reframe everything that comes along. If you hear your brain saying, God, you're stupid, we don't do that anymore. That was the old pattern. We don't do that anymore. In fact, not only am I not stupid, but sometimes I'm incredibly clever. So clever, in fact, that some people don't get my sense of humor, or I'm already planning 3 steps down the road and everybody else is still trying to figure out where we are. So you are incredibly masterful of things that you're not giving yourself credit for. So back to numbers really quickly, and then I'm going to end this. For those of you in California taking the California CSR, and I know this works because I worked with Kirsten McDury, who's now Kirsten Hammock. Love you, Kirsten. I don't know if you even have time to come by and see these things anymore, but she and I worked together before she was taking the California CSR. And I said, you know, we're allowed 50 errors. So why don't you, instead of focusing on 50 errors, 50 errors, 50 errors, why don't you tell your amazing brain, I bet we could aim for 35. And you don't have to do anything else. Just tell it, stop aiming for 50. Aim for 35. Because if you aim for 50 and you're any number over 50, it's a fail. But if you aim for 35, which, trust me, is possible. If you aim for 35, oh my God, you've got 15 extra errors to play with. And that way you can tell your brain, we got this covered. If I drop, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to drop 15 words in a row. And if the rest of my writing is precise, if I'm on it, if I've got it and it's good, I can drop a whole lot of words here and there and keep my good writing sustaining till the end of the test. That's a Stephanie Hicks trick. I love it. Passed the RPR with letting herself drop and then jumping back in as quickly as you can. These are all things I probably should do tiny little vignettes about, so that you can, you know, each little item of try this, try that. So here's what happened with Kirsten. She came back after a couple of weeks and said, you know, that was kind of magical because I'm now into the 40s. I'm not even anywhere near 50s anymore. I'm into the 40s when I'm doing practice CSR qualifiers. And then 2 weeks later, she said, oh my God, I'm dropped down to like in the 20s. I've got 20 errors. And I'm thinking to myself, not knowing what I know now, I was freaking out because I'm thinking, oh dear God, don't push this too much. You're in a beautiful zone. Just go take the CSR and get the damn certificate and be done. Don't mess yourself up with, I bet I could do single digits. And that's when Carrie about lost it. But Kirsten Hammock, look her up. Tell her how incredible she is, because she is. She passed the California CSR with 9 errors. And she did it by telling herself what she thought was possible. It's numbers. And your brain will give you more of what you believe is possible. Change what you believe. I'm going to leave you with that. Love you guys. Have a great day. And I will talk to you sooner than you want, probably. Love you. Bye.